Many of you guys beaming in virtually. This is our fourth time presenting at Metals Investor Forum, but it's our first time actually doing this in person. I guess with David, this would be our third invitation from the likes of Brian London, Peter Croth, who's here, and David Morgan. And I think this is a very exciting time for us to be getting in front of you here. I'm hoping to make every single one of you look good that have helped back us so far. Certainly some forward-looking statements coming up. We're not going to go too far in advance because everything I'm talking about now is going to be discussing our maiden resource estimate, which is going to be dropping early next year. So you don't have to come too far in the future with us, but I'm expecting between now and then it's going to be a bit of a wild ride. So, ultimately, we're silver, gold, but at the end of the day, anyone that's coming and tuning into a presentation like this wants to know about the money side of it. And how is my money going to outperform the rest of the market? It seems this week's been really, really interesting for gold and silver, and they say a rising tide raises all boats. I'm thinking that what we've got lined up over the next few months might be a bit of a tidal wave. We've got 32 drill holes at the lab right now. We're staring down the barrel of our biggest catalyst that we've ever had, aside from when we hit on our first drill hole last year, which added $100 million to our valuation overnight. Between now and delivering that resource, we're off hunting for some blue sky in the form of new discoveries. We just closed a financing last week, of which First Majestic participated in for their second subsequent, time at bat with us. So the winds that are back and the skies are blue. So as David said, our flagship assets, the Tonopah Silver District, this time 100 years ago, would have been probably the center of the universe in precious metals mining in America. In the span of about 30 years, Tonopah produced 174 million ounces of silver and just under 2 million ounces of gold. So we're talking about 100 to 1 silver to gold ratio roughly. And all of that production was off of 7.5 million tons, meaning this is a high-grade district. We're the first group to go back in and start drilling the vast majority of our property since production shut down, meaning this project, which is literally halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. In fact, the highway that connects them goes right across our property, and we're drilling right next door to it. This is the first time that anyone's been back in since historic miners shut down. And at the time, we thought it was because of low metals prices, and we did a basic proof of concept drilling last year. We confirmed that on drill hole number 1, and we're now the most active silver exploration story in North America by a country mile. Probably one of the most ambitious programs in the world right now. Everyone thinks of Nevada. They think about gold, but Nevada's a state because of the massive silver discovery, and that was in the Comstock lode of the 1860s, and it stayed a state. Because of the Tonopah Silver District. Effectively, Comstock helped to fund the American Civil War. That petered out after about 20, 30 years. And by 1890, about 2/3 of Nevada's population had left. It was the Tonopah discovery in 1900 that was the mass real frontier gold rush that happened up to World War I, and it kicked off some of the biggest discoveries, which now make up the Walker Lane trend, including Goldfields, Bullfrog, etc. But none of that would be there without Tonopah. So even today, right next door to our project, there's a mining museum talking about the significance of our project, and we're the first ones to go back and to do any drilling on it. In the silver space, and this seems like a silver panel, silver primary projects are very few and far between. Silver is normally a byproduct, and it's lead, zinc, copper. So to have a silver primary project, there might be 60 stories on the planet that could say that, but most of them are polymetallic, meaning they're putting in as I said, lead, zinc, copper, all those sorts of things, and it's a bit of financial engineering to say that you're a silver company. With us, we're just drilling high-grade silver and gold in Nevada, and where you look at most silver production, most of that's coming from Mexico, Peru, Argentina, Bolivia, China. Being in Nevada is a good place to be, according to the Fraser Institute. We have private land in Nevada, meaning we don't even have to deal with the federal government. We're just dealing with the state. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't get any better than that. So, You know, there's many books, history books written about Tonopah, but the story's easily most told just by this bar chart here. And really what this bar chart here shows is the production. Now, Tonopah was discovered in 1900, effectively in the middle of nowhere by a prospector, a rancher, and his mule. They big outcropping veins at surface, and this kicked off a massive gold rush. Within about 10 years, it was producing 14 million ounces silver equivalent per year, and some massive companies came in. Tonopah, as I said, not only was a big producer, but at that time it helped fund San Francisco after the big earthquake there, and it formed the basis of a lot of companies on the Philadelphia Stock Exchange. Now you see production drop off right before World War I, makes sense, but the nail in the coffin for the district was in 1923 when silver prices and gold prices became unpegged due to the Pittman Act being rescinded. Silver going into that was being bought for $1 an ounce. Within about 3-4 years, it went down to 35 cents an ounce. We're the first group to go back in since that the vast majority of our property went into Chapter 11 in 1930. And our first drill holes into it last year, we hit 30-meter vein of about 1 kilogram per ton. As I said, that added about $100 million overnight and had the likes of Eric Sprott calling us the next day. You'll see on the map here that olden-timey thing. That's what this district looked like in 1912. All those different colors represent different publicly traded operating mining companies. The district, as you can see, it's an east-west trending corridor of veins. So the discovery was made on the east side of town from these big outcropping veins at surface. And over time, they just mine these veins, doing drifts and crosscuts, and they mine them westward. So Blue Sky was, all the production moved westward over those 20, 30 years that you saw previously. We now control the entire western half of this district. So you cut down that olden-timey map, that's what we have now. And between 1912 and 1930, when these claims went belly up, there was lots of consolidation going on. So that purple portion that you see on your screen there, that was the consolidated holdings of a company called Tonopah Extension Mining Company. They gobbled up all of the smaller sort of players in the area, and then it was them that went underwater just because of the tanking metals prices, and it's those claims that have been held ever since. We're the first group to get our hands on them. Our first drill hole proved that concept I told you about. They did not stop drilling because they ran out, and they've left a lot of goodness for us. Since June of last year, we've done 100,000 meters of drilling. We've got 2 big discoveries, effectively 2 separate vein corridors. You'll see on the top right hand of your screen is all those purple dots represent what we call the Victor area, and that in the central area, that's what we call DPB. We're going to be delivering a maiden resource estimate in a few months' time on DPB. What's interesting about this photo here, the satellite image, is that red thing cutting across our property, that's the highway. We're literally drilling on both sides of a highway, and you'll see on the eastern portion of the map there, that's the town of Tonopah. It's, in terms of infrastructure, doesn't get much better than this. So what has all this drilling done for us? Well, we've hit 10 different veins now. You lay them end to end, it's about 6 or 7 kilometers of mineralized strike, and these have been phenomenal grades we've been hitting. Our last set of results, we hit over 5 kilograms silver equivalent, which included over 20 grams gold and just under 3 kilograms pure silver. This is bonanza grade stuff. And historically, these were high margin producers, and up until metals prices tanked. And we think that it's low hanging fruit for us to really advance forward and develop. Now, what you'll see here is of these 10 veins, our maiden resource is going to include 6 of them. It's that yellow polygon you see there. What that means is that most people say, why would you put out a resource and cap your upside? We're not doing that. That's just over half of our veins. We've got our Victor side on the upper right hand there, which we've already got 4 veins there, which go over 500 meters each. What we're trying to do is show the market that by delivering this resource, not only can we re-rate and actually get valued by analysts correctly just on the ounces in the ground, but we'll show the upside on those other veins we've discovered there. And that'll allow us to hopefully go underground next year and start drilling out these veins, not from surface, but underground. And that's where the rubber hits the road in terms of adding ounces. We've got 10 veins. This is our biggest one. This is the Merton Vein. Right now, we've got 1.5 kilometers of strike delineated. Now, on average, This is about 3 meters thick, which is plenty for underground mining. Now, top to bottom, it's about 4 football fields. But the grades here, the grades at Merton alone are over 600 grams per ton silver equivalent. And we've got step-out holes at the lab on Merton right now, while we're waiting for more infill results, that are testing up to another 500 meters of strike here. So this is going to keep growing while we wait for the blue sky to set in. And this blue sky that we're doing right now, that the maiden resource definition program is finished off, is we've just staked 20 square kilometers of new claims here, and we're going to be drilling some blue sky discovery holes while we wait as well. Permits are expected here in January. We're going to hit it with the RC rig, and while we get the resource out in probably February, we're hoping to make some new discoveries.